It's exciting.
Welcome to Northern Knives' impromptu live stream, Meet the Maker, Q&A, whatever you'd like to call it. And today we're talking to Paul about the new Colorful Filth project coming out. How you doing, Paul?
Want to introduce yourself? Say hi. Imagine everybody knows who you are.
Hello, world.
Hopefully some of you guys do. Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me on here. I mean, this is probably a long time overdue, right? Like I literally have rarely even spoken to you guys not on Messenger, which is crazy to me. We've worked on 5 projects at this point. So it's like really wild, really weird. But no, I'm really happy to be doing this. And yeah, this is awesome. This streamer setup is really sweet.
Yeah, cool.
So we had a super excited person last night at 10 o'clock our time, which I think would be like 2 o'clock in the morning your time.
Yeah, 4-hour difference.
Chime in saying, will we be adding a trim lanyard stopper, and will we see any more collaborations in the future? No and yes.
Well, because we're swapping out the lanyard, like instead of doing a stopper, we're just changing out the lanyard hole for a titanium one, so we can anodize it. But I don't know. I don't get the stopper thing, but of course it's kind of a new trend. But I don't know why you'd plug up the lanyard hole unless, because I don't really use it. So I mean, it wouldn't change one way or another functionality. But
a tritium one seems a little difficult to get your hands on.
Yeah.
The glow in the dark spacers like we do on the bug outs, that'd be one thing.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of 3D printing things, and then if they don't fit, then modifying them. And I remember doing the back spacers on the bug outs.
That was a bad
I remember
idea.
seeing Janice washing like with the file, just wallowing holes out.
But future collaborations for sure.
Always.
I already mentioned it to you on shit. I think even before this one went live, I think I even mentioned it to you in Messenger.
Right. You're like, what's the next one?
Yeah. We better start thinking of it now. Well, because I don't want us to find ourselves in the same situation where we have a 2-year gap.
Exactly. No, I definitely agree. I mean, it was so weird because, I mean, realistically, I guess the gap wouldn't have been that big, but then we pretty much got a project like right there, and then technical issues kind of just had us start completely from scratch. But yeah, no, I definitely want to make sure I am quicker because it's definitely me.
It's a group effort. So
Yeah,
it's not one person to blame.
Yeah, don't put it on you.
I am pretty disappointed that one didn't work out because it is pretty bitchy.
It gets a lot of attention. I have one that I haven't attempted to do anything yet. It's just Cerakoted that is promised to a friend of mine. So there will be one out in the wild.
Cool.
But if I can get it to work, which seems to be a big if.
Definitely. So yeah. So how does that work with like the different grades of titanium? Like, is there only a specific one that you guys are able to use, or?
No, it's here. I can't really pin it down to what specific grades react certain ways. But I know I found this out the hard way when what we needed to do is we needed to have sampling so that we could show people the different colors that we could achieve and different patterns and stuff. So what I did is I bought a bunch of titanium plates that were like 1.5 inches by 3 inches, drilled a hole in the corner, and I thought, okay, this is perfect. We can use these for patterns to show patterns to the customers, and we can use it to do different colors and show them all that. And I found out why those plates were so cheap, because low-grade titanium, it reacts, the higher the voltage get, the more it deviates from where it's supposed to be. So in the low voltages, which I would consider like 40 volts and lower, it's pretty consistent. But once you get up into 60, 70, 80, it just goes wherever it wants. So it ends up being this kind of mushy purple green color that doesn't look good.
What do we go up to? 115 or 120?
115 is the highest and
that's green.
Yeah, and actually even at 115, you have a very short amount of time you can leave it in there because it'll do the same thing. If you try to do it at 120, you get that weird mushy green purple color. And if you leave 115 in too long, it'll do the same thing. So really you want to stay around 110 and I can't pin it down to what grade of titanium does that, but and that's the thing too. It's not just it's kind of more common in expensive knives than you'd think.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I noticed from like talking to hardware makers that they recommend grade 5 or higher.
Yeah.
Or if you can get it, commercial grade titanium, but then you work for Boeing.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat Chad with a wrench. He's upstairs with a Sawzall when I asked him not to do
Can
that.
you hear that?
I heard it.
Did the mics pick that up?
I heard that.
It sounds like a weird kind of like bear farting behind here.
Somebody text Chad. Tell him
All
stop.
right.
And then we've got another one here from Ron.
Kineska.
I was going to say Ron K.
Ron K. There you go.
NK Rocks, just saying. We got
Thank you,
Arrowhead
Ron.
guys chiming in here. I know a guy selling some government grade tritium out of the back of his van. Totally legit.
Yeah.
Radiation.
Send us over his number. We'll look into it.
And then Ron's commenting on the titanium, saying it's Russian titanium.
Titanium. That is a thing too. Like Russian titanium is notoriously poor.
Dirty.
Yeah, it's dirty. Like I just imagine while they're like smelting it, they're just throwing lawn chairs and shit. Like anything to
Fill
just
it. We need
anything they can use for filler, like old tank parts and shit. Just anything. Because I've had a piece of titanium. What I would do is polish it, and if you're not ready for the project, you can polish it, and then I just leave it submerged in water, so it won't develop a film on the outside. I've had a piece of titanium rust before, so we've had some pretty crappy pieces of titanium through the shop.
Or Russian titanium bayonets. They don't hold an edge, and they
I'll be right back.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you want me to go?
Sounds like somebody's mowing the ceiling.
We are in the basement technically, so Chad is doing Chad things.
We're in the shelter.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got D-Life saying it's vodka type. And then in Mother Russia, the tritium smelts you. Okay.
I'm waiting to hear Mike tell Chad to knock it off.
Oh, yeah. Mike's
He'll be right back.
old man stomps upstairs. Hey, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah, I don't know, Paul. Like, what kind of design?
Train of thought.
Yeah,
Words.
there's things going on.
Brain.
So, what kind of design decisions did you have to make to accommodate the knife? Because I know you have to make sacrifices to make certain things work. And I know working with us for a while now, you've kind of learned how the masking works and the layers a little bit and the color palettes a little bit. And you've definitely adjusted your art to kind of accommodate that. But what else, like besides that, have you had to do along the process?
I think one of the biggest things is definitely. Sorry, there's an echo now. I don't know.
Are you getting an echo?
Yeah.
We can fix that.
And problem solved.
Cool. Yeah, I think one of the biggest considerations for me when it comes to any of these, like I think you're right, like as far as what colors are possible and kind of the level of detail that you guys are able to do with the laser work, I have a pretty good grasp on that. But I think tying in themes is really my biggest consideration for all of them. So like, of course, with this one, I went for that sort of sci-fi military sort of thing because it's the PM2. But yeah, I mean, beyond that, it's when we started using the Cerakote with the bug out, I think that really sort of expanded my ideas of like what's possible. And I think it's so cool that you guys were actually able to figure out like that sort of multicolored Cerakote for the sand with that sort of like base tan color and then the other sort of speckles, like putting like it's cool being able to think of things in that dimension. And ever since we did that with the bug out, like I definitely think that that's something worth bringing into the future ones as well, because it definitely adds cool depth to everything.
Yeah, it was when you first sent across the bug out. I remember when we looked at it and was like, I have no idea how we're gonna do this.
Yeah,
that was probably the one that was longest in development, just because it was, we went from just straight anodizing to, well, shit, now we have to do black and purple. And so, me and Lori sat around. We're like, okay, so we know we can Cerakote it, but how the hell do we get it so precise as to? I mean, we tried vinyl stickers and all kinds of stuff to try to get it, but
Oh, on the bug out?
Yeah, on the bug out.
I remember that.
And then, but I'm glad it didn't work out, because it would have been a nightmare to try to
Line
do it.
everything up.
Oh, and to do in volume, it would have been impossible.
Definitely. And
So-
that was like when we did the bug out, was that when you guys first started kind of like working with Cerakote as a shop or
No, we started, let's see, I think we got set up in 2019 when Doug passed away, because I got back from class in
Yeah.
Oregon and he had like
And-
just passed away.
Yeah.
The bug out would have been late 2019.
Yeah, so I think that we had
6
gotten
months.
started that spring in getting stuff, or we were setting up the space. So it was one of the first things that we had done But I mean, like the black.
Didn't
and
they
the
wait? Didn't
splatter.
they ship in 21
Hmm.
or shipped in 20?
20.
Oh, they shipped in 20.
Yeah.
Wow,
they?
it's been that
Yeah.
long. Holy shit.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, no, that's really crazy.
I'm trying to remember what vacations I was on
Yeah.
during that time.
But I like that that now that we have figured out the method and to be able to get it repeatable and scalable, that it opens up a hell of a lot of options as far as color and what we can do with it.
I thought it shipped in 21.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought it shipped in 21.
We can look.
I'm gonna have
I
to
think
double
it shipped
check.
in 21.
I think
But
so
I'm-
too.
Pretty sure it was 2019, and then COVID hit right in the middle of the project.
Well, so it would have shipped out in. So I got certified in 19, and then we worked on this project. But I'm pretty sure that these shipped out in 21.
That was
because I was
developed.
back in Hawaii.
Development was in 20. Shipping was in 21. I
Yeah.
think.
Okay, I'm probably wrong.
Because I
I'll
came
have to
back
double
to
check now, 'cause
Yeah, because that would
ton
be
of these.
that'd be 2 years since it shipped. It'd be 2 years.
Yeah, because I came
Okay.
back to doing a ton of these and helping
Yeah.
fill that, or coming back to a bunch of scales downstairs and being like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what's going on?
And it's funny, like how I look at each one of these and I just remember I remember having some really shitty nights, staying here all night doing these, and then I remember messing up like a whole batch of bug outs and like just the stress.
Because you had some kind of like injury or something, right? During the
But yeah, I had back surgery. I had back surgery in the middle of the bug out project,
I thought
or in the middle of the Spyderco project. Yeah.
one of
I had-
them.
Yeah, I had back surgery, so I was supposed to be bedridden for like a month, but it was like 4 or 5 days later I was in here doing projects. I didn't want to put them off.
That's so crazy. Yeah, like since the bug out was the first one that we actually did the Cerakote, like what did you guys run into as far as making that like process at scale? Was there anything that was like a big surprise for you guys?
Not on my end. I mean, we mixed up, we just did like a black base and then the purple splatter. So on my end, it was pretty easy because then
Pivots were kind of a pain in the butt.
well, yeah, putting them together was also a pain in the butt. We had
Yeah.
a whole train of people going down we occasionally lost a piece or two.
Yeah, that's true. We have bug out pieces that to this day, we still find random bug out pieces around the shop.
I have a bunch of the original scales with screws still stuck in it. So if we were missing screws at some point, I know where they are.
I know
I have washers.
We have a bin of blue thumb studs. That's like, well, we'll never run out of blue thumb studs.
Steve Rogers was coming back in about the tritium lanyard deleter stopper.
Oh yeah. We're already underway. We can't make changes now. Sorry,
Yeah.
man.
And then what time is it in Alaska? 5:40 p.m.
We have 4 hours behind Paul.
There we go. We got Ron
Hey,
here.
we got Chook.
Is Paul a collector? And what's his favorite blade?
Ah.
The bug out.
So that's definitely am a collector. And I guess
one of the knives he designed.
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of a bias, right? But you know what? I'm gonna grab my box real quick, and then I'll show you something really crazy.
We'll talk amongst ourselves. So anyway,
I'm in a very small apartment, so you're good. Okay, so as far as like favorite for usability, I think honestly, I think
the box.
I got the hookup. I think it might be the Wayfarer, the Olamic, the Wayfarer 247.
Oh, yes.
It's
very
such a
nice.
good, like, it's just good. Like everything about it is just really, really nice. So the one that I have, it's right here. Mine kind of has like the holes and then that molten sort of thing going on, which is just like super cool. But the blade shape on this one, the blade size, like I love everything about this knife. But like as far as like my favorite thing in the collection, this is like the craziest thing ever. So I don't know if you guys have seen this before.
Deadlock.
Oh, Deadlock. Yeah.
No, so this is actually not a Deadlock. This is the Shrike by Scott M. Topper. So it is a custom OTF,
wow.
but it has like no hardware, basically, like no screws. So these little rings are just like pressure fit in, and then when you take this out, and then you could just take the whole thing apart, disassemble it, clean it. The other crazy thing is like everything on this knife is like just crazy detail where it's the engraved. I mean, the blade's ridiculous.
It looks like a Spartan sword.
Exactly. And I don't know how well that translates on stream, but like there's just some super
Pretty well.
engravings and
Yeah.
mean, he has to make like a handful of these a year, I would imagine. But as far as collection wise, this is definitely like the top.
Is it because it's the most expensive?
Yeah.
Yes and no. Honestly, I think the story behind it's also really cool. So the reason I have that is definitely not. I could never afford to buy a knife that costs that much myself. But I did a bunch of work for the maker, like helped him design his logo and stuff like that. So it was kind of just like a really cool trade situation where I just feel really fortunate to have something that.
So is it over $3,000?
Yeah.
Let me see real quick.
Because now I'm curious.
All right, so if you ever come out to visit, you have to mail some of your collection ahead of you,
or bring a firearm.
Yeah, or bring a firearm and put it in your Pelican case with it. That's how I travel with knives. So
Same.
you got to bring out some of your favorite pieces. Show them.
I definitely should do that. So I'm seeing. Let me see. All right, so the only one that I see is one that was on Arizona Custom Knives, and it was $4,700.
A little off.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're close. You're definitely close.
I wonder that's secondary marketing. So I wonder what it went for originally.
I mean, with as much as Microtechs go for, that's a fucking steal.
Well, I mean, the
Yeah, but it's
Marpion
also
Customs get
custom.
pretty
Yeah,
expensive.
Marpion Customs will be $3,000.
Thank you.
But,
Very cool.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
yeah.
We got Chook chumming in here. Thank you, sir.
Everybody subscribe to Chook's channel.
Yep. Outdoor Adventures. And then we've also got Keep Out 7811. So what knife are you guys doing next year?
None of your business until we release it.
Yeah, we gotta keep that a secret. Although we did discuss at least two.
Yeah.
Briefly. I
Yeah.
mean, I recommended at least two, but
Yeah.
Yes.
but ultimately I think
So your Medford confirmed?
yeah, and I'm an $800 collaboration project.
I would be way more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Way more.
CPM chiming in. Whoa, live on a Saturday.
Mm.
Knife dump. It's already on the table.
Yeah.
I don't have pockets in these non-pants.
I mean, I just did we just did a pocket dump on Chooks on Thursday. I'm carrying the same shit.
He'll buy any left out over bug out scales. We have a pallet of blue ones if you'd like to buy.
yeah,
They're
there you
they're
go.
not the titanium ones. They're the standard blue gravy ones.
Yeah, the blue ones we took off.
And we Cerakote them. So I've got a batch in the oven, which is about 15 feet that way, of all different colors that people order off the website. So you can order those, but
Yeah.
we don't have any bug out, spaced out ones.
Hey,
left over.
Ty, I sent you an email. Check your email and get back to me.
I'm just looking for ones that are pertinent to like a Q&A here.
Okay.
Well, but every
Well,
comment
come on. I mean,
counts.
everybody, they bothered to get here and take the time to comment.
Sweet.
Give them the time of day. You do the same thing to me when I'm sitting off camera and I comment. You skip it because you're like, it's not relevant.
Okay.
I'm going to
Well,
start getting shit
I
to
do
throw
like
at
the
you.
Neutron too.
yeah, it's the Neutron 2 is the best production.
I don't think it is though. Have you handled the new tactile turn Maverick?
Ooh,
That's pretty nice.
Because that is a pretty cool knife.
if you are on Reddit in the last 2.5 hours, I just put one on there. I just put one on there that I did. I did a custom anno on there of a F-14 Tomcat with a little, some little anodized streaks coming out the ass end of it on the side of a Maverick today.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I haven't gotten to try one of the tactile knives yet, but they seem to be pretty cool. They definitely seem. I have their pens, but I don't have one of their knives.
The Maverick is impressive.
It is. It's a much better version of a production.
It's
Other production knife.
It's very,
It
very.
uses a bar lock.
And if you ever make it up, we do have a shop full of knives. You can play with it. You'll probably not ever get to play with it ever again.
Yeah, there you go.
We got Steve coming in again here. Nice Damascus. And I ordered my Fallen knife a while ago. How would I add that lanyard
You
stopper?
don't. It doesn't exist.
You'd have to. Well, I mean, it's sold. I mean,
The lanyard,
well, stoppers are. We don't
yeah,
stock
we don't
them.
have them.
You wouldn't be able to order it from us. But I mean, it's sold somewhere. You just find it and order it, and you can swap it in.
I mean, if you sent it here, we could do. Would we want to do that?
Mail it to us, and we'll swap it in.
Yeah.
I mean, what if we accidentally swap it in the wrong knife? I mean, we're going to be dealing with hundreds of these things.
That would
Yeah,
really
that's
suck.
probably a bad idea.
Okay, never mind. Scratch that.
I mean, how about this? We'll sell you some T8s, and we'll send you some T8s and some T10s,
and T6s?
and some instructions on how to do it.
That sounds pretty easy.
Dave's chiming in, just saying hi.
Hey, Dave.
Dave, your
Thanks
knife
for
is-
chiming in.
Your knife is Cerakoted and in the oven, and I'll have it put together on Monday, and then it'll get engraved, and then you can finally
Come pick it up.
come pick it up.
So D-Light's coming in again, asking us about colors we have. I'm not
Any
quite sure.
Color
Oh,
Cerakote
for-
scales that
Oh,
you
for
want.
Cerakote.
For,
Okay.
for the bug out
Yeah,
scale?
whatever colors you can find in the H series
Go
on
to-
the Cerakote website,
Yeah.
I will do. If I don't have it, I will order it in. But I've got a good handful of the colors.
Yeah.
Steve's also saying titanium backspacer would have been awesome. But again, that's just
Oh, backspacer. Well, that's different than.
I mean, the hardware is
Is,
titanium.
Yeah.
The screws
We are swapping out all the hardware, but we didn't add a backspacer.
Yeah.
It felt kind of. I don't know. Do we do that on every project now? It kind of felt like we already did that.
I mean, we did it on this one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, is that just a thing we're doing, you know? And plus, I don't know. I mean, the backspacers on these are kind of like they've been there for years. They're out there. Everybody has them. This was kind of like
It goes with the space.
this was kind of like these weren't a thing at the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it's like I couldn't even buy one and reverse engineer it. I just had to like trial and error make one and see if it worked.
We went through a
So-
lot of them.
So you just you modeled that like from scratch, right?
Yeah, I mean, I took a center bore camera on our CNC, and you lay out the bug out half disassembled, and you take a mosaic shot, and then I bring it into the computer, and I can draw a vector file over it, and then I can build a 3D model off of that, and then we use that 3D model, convert it to an STL, put it in a 3D printer, print it, and then it doesn't work, and then you go and you tweak it 15 times, and then finally it works, and then you print 500 of them.
There's still buckets upstairs.
Yeah.
We still have about 60 left, I
Chad
think.
stole one for his.
Arrowhead guys coming in. I'm so on the fence on this one. I really dig those scales, but I don't know how many PM2s I can bring myself.
I told you
buy.
to trade them in, man. We
Yep.
just talked about this the other
Or
night.
buy one of these, swap parts, and then you get the scales, and then you sell the other one. Easy enough.
It's a good idea.
Fine.
Keep up the amazing work. Let's
Thank
see
you.
here.
I
I
don't
guess-
ever want to see another bug out ever again.
Yeah, we're good.
Well, we can't do another bug out. I mean,
No.
that's just kind of making it.
Oh,
you
my
know.
eyes twitching thinking about that.
Someone
we
put
got
a
it.
rainbow F-15 plane on it.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
yes.
was it's actually an F-14 Tomcat with the wings extended. Thank you. Why would I go through the trouble of making it Top Gun themed and pick the wrong plane?
That's fair.
Fixed blade, colorful filth collab would be intriguing. What do you think, Paul?
That would be cool. Like, is there anything that comes with titanium? scales?
Titanium scales, no. Not unless it's going to be a custom. There's no mid-tex that I can think of. So then it would be, is there anybody that makes aftermarkets for it? Which then, of course, bumps the price. That was something we heard from someone the other day is like, you know, why they're getting so pricey. And it's like, well, you know, we don't try to add titanium hardware and titanium scales. That's what we tried to do with the ZT is not have to bump the price by adding a bunch of parts. But it's the same thing with that fixed blade. We got to think about what are titanium scales. And even then, if we have them commissioned, I mean, Jesus. We're trying not to make $500 collaboration knives here.
Well, we could do them in-house, or there's a local guy that machines titanium, but then you have to buy high enough grade titanium, and then if you buy the wrong stuff, then you've got all this titanium you can't use, and then it's this whole issue.
It's a whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that would be really cool.
Big L's unfinished titanium corral.
Well, and the thing too is there's a guy locally that we would use that we could probably get the project done have a little more control and a little more feedback with the guy, but he's already working on a collaboration, like a folder for us. So it's like we've already got him full up. So
That's awesome. That is really cool though.
if we can get it to work, it's been a while. He's a busy guy.
Steve coming in. I do it myself. I just thought it'd be the complete look with a purple anodized with white tritium.
White tritium. I agree.
That would be cool.
That
It's
is
hard cost, though.
Yeah.
Is there like as a manufacturer, is there like special things you need to be able to use tritium?
I mean, you can order it on Amazon. So
So it's nothing crazy.
yeah, I mean, you can get like the glow in the dark paint. They make like tritium paint. and you can just like mill out a little spot and then get an eyedropper and drip the paint in there and
seal
let
it
it dry, and
That's it.
then there you go. Yeah.
No,
I
easy.
almost ordered some for, I think it was an idea we had for, I think it was before I found glow in the dark filament for the bug out. I was going to order some glow in the dark tritium paint, and we were going to try to do it that way with a standard ABS filament and then coat it. And then I found the glow in the dark filament, and we just ended up going that route because it made it cheaper, it made it faster, it's not going to wear out, that kind of thing. It was just a better choice all around. But
what about the CRJB Pyrite? That'd be a good one to customize.
I have no idea what that
alphabet
is.
soup for me.
Anybody?
I've heard of CRJB.
I've heard of CRJB too, but I'm not familiar with that knife. You got a Google machine in front of you?
Just give it a goog.
Give it a go.
It's gonna catch on.
It's actually that's a very inexpensive knife. But it's a stainless steel handle. So
We'd have to find aftermarket scales for it, which
is the issue.
it's hit and miss. Unless it's a major company, you can't buy them off Etsy. You'll crash somebody's Etsy store trying to do that.
Yep.
I mean, there was a guy I found one person making backspacers for the bug out. And I was like, maybe we just order 500 of them. And I thought, we'll give this poor guy a heart attack. So we should probably in-house them.
We bought a 3D printer out of it.
Yeah, we had to buy a 3D printer for that project. And then it sucked. So then we had to buy a second one.
Yeah.
And that one's still upstairs, and I can't get it to work.
damn.
I got Ron coming in here again. Let me guess, all the filth is gone. No, you can still pre-order these.
Yes, the end of the month.
Yeah.
I love that.
The filth is gone. How did you come up with Colorful Filth?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't even remember. It was so long ago, but I was just trying to think like what I was just looking at the art that I had been doing for like a little while, and I was like, what does this look like? Like if I was to look at everything all at once, like what describes this? Just colorful filth, I guess. I don't
I know, yeah, because I like it. It's great.
It's a strange name. And it's funny too, because as I get into doing more some more professional work along with my artwork, it's really weird to talk to like this super professional business guy and be like, yeah, go to colorfulfilth.com. You'll find it.
It's like your high school email address.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ladiesman187 at hotmail.com.
XX Dark Angel XX. Yeah. Oh man.
I just use mine for spam. I think it's from middle school though.
Yeah, I'm thinking about swapping my 15V blade into it, throwing the S45 blade on the Tan G10 handle, and giving it to someone who hates
Just
Spyderco.
so you know, the serial numbers go on the blade. So if you do that,
Oh, yeah, you're going to lose your serial number because
and
these will be serial numbers. These will be
yes,
numbered.
these are all numbered.
And the numbers go on the blade.
Yes, just so you know.
And that was another thing we should probably address too, is a lot of people were wondering why we didn't coat the blade, and that was at the request of Spyderco.
Yep.
So it's not like we decided to do something different. It just, we
had plans.
The problem is these projects are getting big enough that we kind of can't go under the radar with them anymore. And these companies know when we place an order for 500 of something, they know what we're doing. They know we're modifying their knives. So we kind of have to get upfront permission, which I don't know if this is too much inside baseball, but I think up until 3 days before launch, we still had not gotten permission from Spyderco because we had to get it directly from the president, and he was on vacation with his dad. They were on a hunting vacation. 3 days before launch, we finally got the okay to go ahead with it.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy 3 days for sure.
Yeah. And at one point we were like, well, we're just going to have to go around them. We're just going to find distributors. We can't cancel this project 3 days before.
Yeah.
Right. Well, because even when we did the bug out, didn't we have to somehow retain the Benchmade logo on the blade?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The logo and the model number.
I changed the model number on the prototype. So instead of 535, it said NKCF. And they were like, nope.
Yep.
They got, that was the first thing they came back with. They were like, no. They're like, we'll let you do this, but you do not change the model number. I was like, oh, shit.
I mean,
okay, fine.
After we did, our Benchmade rep bought one, and one of the higher ups in Benchmade also bought one and paid full price for it. So
Yeah.
I think he carries it around at the factory.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
our Benchmade rep would carry it around whenever he came up here. He'd be like,
I sharpened it last time I was up
Did
here.
you? Nice.
so like, what did you have to do for that? You just had to like re-engrave that information or something?
Yeah, so like,
Strip it, re-cerakote it.
yeah, so it was. We only did it on. I think we only did it on one or two.
Mhm.
But when getting we kind of had to get Benchmade's okay with it. So we went through our rep, and we just basically gave a prototype to our rep, and we're like, let us know what they think. And they came back and they're like, they're okay with everything. Don't change the model number. But they were okay with our recreating their logo. In fact, Alistair, who is our shop manager, he worked at Benchmade, and I think he used to do like warranty intake and stuff like that. So he could spot a counterfeit from across the room. And so he has really helped me refine our laser engraving on their logo. So we've made it as true to form as we can. And
That's awesome.
so, which, you know, is when you're kind of doing that, it's iffy. It's like, it's the largest knife company in the United States. And I'm putting their logo on shit. So I don't want to get bad.
I guess they probably figured like if one of these came in for warranty, like it's going to be, no one can replicate that.
It's marked clearly.
And we did, like, on the inside of the scales, a lot of them did say modified by Northern Knives, you know, so it's, we want to make sure that we're not trying to represent this. And that was a big thing too, is they didn't want anybody, they didn't want anybody to think that this came from Benchmade with a different model number. That was part of the thing they said too.
Okay. We got Steve coming in here. He's saying that our last collaboration had an option to add extra parts. No, it didn't.
What, this one?
Yeah, the bug out.
What could you add to the bug out?
Nothing. We didn't give that option.
We added extra parts, like the backspacer and the anodized screws, but
Yeah.
there wasn't really an option. There's an option if you wanted a specific serial number. If it wasn't claimed already, you can claim one.
If
it's within
you're-
that.
Oh,
Yeah, sure.
I'll go stand in the corner.
That's okay. Go ahead.
If you're really confused, the original listing is still up, just sold out. You can look at it and it'll tell you exactly how it came and
That
what
was
came
a
with it.
patronizing way to say it.
Why?
If you're really confused, you can go check out the original listing.
No, I mean, like if you're getting your information from other people, like just go to the source and
Yeah,
take a look.
as far as I know, it's always been a one price. Everybody gets the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
We wouldn't let people customize or send like their blade in if it's
Yeah.
9391.
Oh, so
Nobody-
many people are like, I already have a bug out. Let me buy the scales.
Too bad. No.
Man, we can't. That's
Everybody
not
gets the
fair to
same
everyone
one.
else. I just noticed how lazy I was with this prototype. It's missing a screw. That one's not even titanium.
That one fell out.
Yeah, that one's not even titanium or anodized the correct color. And that one's missing. The thumb stud is two different colors. Man.
It's the two face that has.
Oops.
Oh well, that's fine.
That's so
That's
funny.
Yeah. Let's see here. Keep Out Sandy thinks it's fair. There's a lot of Chinese premium knives that cost
This is
more.
very true. Even like the Microtech SOCOM Bravo.
Yeah.
is ungodly expensive.
Well, I mean, Jesus, look at some of Riot stuff. I mean, it's so easy to find a Riot for $350. Easy, you know.
Oh yeah. And I think.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say once we hit you know, that like that 200 number, which we're really close to. I mean, once it was 315, right? At that point, like that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, even with the paramilitary, like if you go to Flightanium and buy the hardware, and then buy the lanyard hole and buy the scales, and then you go and you buy the PM2 and you put it all together, I think it's $338 if you pay minimum advertised price for everything. So if we hit volume target and this thing gets down to 315, I mean, essentially, not only are we doing the work for free, we're paying you $20 to do the work.
So take this knife.
Yeah, but you know, but that's the thing is, and that's the very key term is volume targets. We'll make this as accessible to everyone we can, but we can't do it if we're making 15 of them. But if we can hit volume targets, then we can, you know, I mean, we even talked about earlier when the bug out was on just massive trajectory. You know, we even thought about, well, what would we do if it hits 1,000? Because the thousand mark is the minimum for starting to dictate terms on the way the knife is made. So if we ever hit 1,000 with one of these projects, we could do a steel upgrade for free. Like we could give, you know, we could go instead of S45, everybody could get S110. and it would be no extra charge, because we hit that minimum. We'd be able to do something like that.
So is that how you guys would do like a shop exclusive? You'd have to have like that minimum order, and then you can make whatever you want.
That's kind of what the minimums are. Everybody's a little different. I think depending on the model and depending on where it's made, there are Spyderco exclusives that can be as low as 800. But the general rule of thumb across the industry is 1,000. So if we ever hit 1,000, then everybody who bought that, they don't get it any cheaper, but we get to start adding upgrades for free. So everybody gets 20 CV now, everybody gets, whatever we could do. It would vary by the model, but just throwing out examples.
Yeah.
But and that's what I'm, that's how effective, the economy of scale is just because if we can just do more than 200 or so of these, then you couldn't even put together a blank one for the same price.
And then just to be clear, if we sell 1,000 of these, Spyderco's store exclusive program, we as a shop don't qualify, so don't plan on that. Disclaimer, does not work on this
specific project. Does not count, but in the future.
Yeah. Steve's just saying he thought we were collaborating with Flytanium, so he thought we'd get all the good stuff, and it's like, no, we're
buying stuff.
We're using them as business.
We buy from them. We don't necessarily collaborate with them, other than, hey, we might need to order hundreds of this. Do you have it? And Flytanium's always really cool with us. We really don't have to collaborate with them.
Yeah, they must do a lot of volume, right? Like Flytanium.
Yeah, they're kind of always on board.
Yeah,
and they're real helpful, and they're nice to work with.
I think it's awesome that they can be out of something and we'll call them up and be like, oh, it's you guys. Sure. No problem. Give us 2 months. We got you.
Yeah. We literally bought
the North American supply.
We literally bought the North American supply for paramilitary 2 scales from they're actually sitting over there in a box just off camera. The entire North American supply of Flytanium scales for paramilitary 2s.
He's not trying to drive up the market price, but he's trying to drive up the market price.
So if anybody needs them, DM me. They'll be $150 a pair.
PM2 scale futures.
Next.
Arrowhead saying that he got to tour a tritium facility, 3 stories underground, a concrete bunker behind 10 inches of lead glass.
10 feet.
You know what? He's a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so I believe him.
Be careful with Chinese tritium. I've heard it's radioactive. Haha. Love the artwork, by the way, and this knife will surely last me a lifetime. Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm glad you didn't coat the blade. I love a satin polish.
There's that too. I do too.
Waving a Spyderco Resilience open towards you may result in unplanned abdominal surgery.
Oh.
I've not heard of that. When will they start to ship?
Shit. I mean, that's the thing, right?
Pre-orders close end of the month.
Yeah.
We have scales. We have hardware on the way. We have to figure out how many knives to order first.
Yeah,
and then
PM2s are not on the way.
Yep, but we're getting a head start by starting with scale. So we're gonna get through them as quickly as we can, but we don't really have a solid ETA.
Yeah, it all depends on when the actual knives show up and when the screws and lanyard holes show up. So
yeah. And final material orders won't be until the end of the month when the pre-orders close.
Yep.
So
I mean, at the 2-week mark, we could probably place an initial order from Spyderco.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can't just, every time somebody orders one, you can't call up Spyderco and be like, hey, add one to the order. Hey, add one to the order. Hey, add one to the order. So you kind of have to build them up and then place a large order and then build them up and place a large order. So.
Paul and NK Crew, what's the most dangerous knife, to the user, you guys and gal have ever owned?
Do you remember that flipper double-edged? Go Past Dave owns it.
What's the CRKT that has it's a little
Stitches?
triangle? Yes. So we call it Stitches, but that's not the name of it.
I don't remember.
So what you do is it has a little rock lock and you push it down and then it spins open. So it's like
cat?
It's a weird triangle thing.
That's
All right.
I guess so.
Wait, what's the new Kershaw up on the wall? That every time you hand it to somebody, you're like, look, be very careful. And then as soon as you hand it to them, they're like, fuck.
The Talon?
No, the EOC or the ERC. It's an acronym. Look at the
damn.
kitty.
I can't. I can't think. So there's a CRKT that has a spread compression lock. It's a little triangle leaf looking knife that I can't think of.
Yeah, I can't remember it.
That thing, we literally didn't even. I don't even know what it's called because whenever we made the
Tag.
the retail tag for it, and we just called it Stitches. The CRKT Stitches. Like, here's this thing. Don't touch it. There's another new Kershaw out that they actually sell to Matco Tools.
Snap-on.
Oh, Snap-on Tools, and Snap-on sells it in their trucks. That thing's pretty lethal too.
I cut my fingernail on it.
I cut my
External
finger
toggle.
as well.
ET.
ETOC,
No, it's only 3.
ETC, ETO,
Sure.
ETA, ETB, ETC.
Isn't it like
Yeah,
ST1000 or something like that?
Anyways, we're falling way behind on comments.
What about you, Paul? What's the most dangerous knife you've handled?
So for me, it would be the bare bones balisong, because I suck with balisongs. So that's, but yeah, that's a super basic answer. I've definitely hurt myself with that multiple times.
That's funny because I have the scars to prove that I'm very bad at them as well.
They're still fun though.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Hardy, how's it going, man? Hardy's a regular of ours here at the shop.
And apparently knows about everything before anybody
Yeah.
else does. 'Cause somebody.
Lori tries
me.
to hide all the secret projects from Hardy, but Hardy's best friends with everybody in the shop, so he finds out anything he wants to
He
know.
doesn't know me
He
that.
blamed you for this one.
What?
Hardy said that you told him.
Oh,
I know
what?
Alistair.
Because
told him, but
Alistair was
he's-
probably like, "I'll tell you, but you got to blame it on your own."
I know Alistair told him, but he's blaming you for it. So
I
You're
got
welcome,
words. Steve's just saying, yeah, I'm glad. I'll go right to the source and check.
Yep.
Can I get a custom serial number?
if we make that many and a number has not been claimed, so if we say we make
Yeah.
200 and number 69, because somebody always claims that number.
It's, oh, by the way, number 7, number 69 are already
13,
taken.
33, 69.
Number 420 is already taken if we get there. Number 911 is already taken if we get there.
But you can if it's not already been claimed.
But yeah. When you order, put it in the comments, and if it is not taken, you can have it.
But no guarantees. We'll
Next.
try.
Next.
So Hardy's. So this is
No.
a bit of an inside joke. Hardy's username on Reddit is Dinosaur
Dinosaur
Musket.
muskets. Yes, I
Yes.
remember you.
Remember we put that on a little Kaiser. We made a little Dinosaur Musket logo. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was how we met each other. Was I submitted
Yes.
something
Yeah.
for that
Yeah,
project?
you sent me a picture of the skull with a CF on it, and I burned it on a dog tag.
Yep,
And you're like,
exactly.
Holy shit, can you do that? And I was like, yeah. And you're like, put it on a knife. And I'm like, all right.
So many years ago.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I remember you guys did a it was like a competition thing where you like randomly.
Random
yeah.
drawing.
Yeah, we did a random
Yeah.
drawing. We had a this nerd brought a D&D knife to the D&D knife to the table, and we rolled it to pick who would win. I remember
You
that.
should have
Sorry.
dropped off that knife. That's history. Right now.
Yeah.
And he said he should have dropped it off so it could be on the table as a colorful filth.
You
collab.
should
I don't
have.
know if it counts as
Well,
a colorful
it's
field
kind
collab.
of a proto project that led to this whole thing.
It really
Oh.
is. Yeah.
It was interesting to do. I mean, it wasn't easy. I honestly like
I
to see
remember
some
what
of
you
my.
said.
I'd like to see some of my early work to see like how good I was at it back then.
He's saying that St. Nick's exclusives have production runs of like 600, but they're done like 10 plus models.
Yeah, it depends
yeah.
on where the knife is manufactured because it's different in the U.S. versus Taiwan versus Japan versus China. So
Yeah.
every like region, you have a different amount that you have to hit.
Yeah, and it depends. There's quite a few factors at play on like how many you have to order to buy.
And
Yeah.
then according to our sales rep, I guess there's only 2 for the United States, which blew my goddamn mind.
East
Yeah.
Coast, West Coast.
East Coast,
Really?
West Coast,
Yep.
and then Hawaii's the owner. So yeah, they're a very minimal crew as far as sales reps for businesses. He said that you had to be like a premium Spyderco dealer, which means you carried 90% of their SKUs.
My
And-
God, they
I don't know
make
if we
700
use it that
knives.
much.
Yeah, it was crazy. So like St. Nick's is like a massive Spyderco dealer.
Half the store would be Spyderco.
Yeah.
Like the people are like, why don't you carry Cold Steel? It's like because they have 1,500 SKUs. Like it'd be half the store.
Yeah, St. Nick's sells a lot of Spydercos.
Yeah.
So that's why I couldn't buy them yet because we don't do them separately.
Oh.
All tritium is radioactive. Well, thank you.
That's why sometimes if you buy it in a large enough, bulk, you have to buy it off eBay from somebody who's selling it and doesn't know that they're breaking the law by shipping it to you. Because if you buy it on Amazon, they have restrictions on how much you can buy.
That's what I was wondering. So there are like some rules for it, but it's not anything like crazy. But it's just me. Okay.
Yeah, it depends on how much you have of it in one space.
Apparently, the Resilience is the most dangerous knife to the user.
The Resilience.
Can you explain how the art is applied to the scales?
She can explain the
Cerakote portion.
Cerakote portion.
So knives come down in pieces, or I guess the scales come down to me. Sandblast, gas out, or acetone, sandblast, gas out. I do a base layer of.
Can you explain these? So you're using slang terms.
Sorry.
So these are colloquial things. I'm not explaining anything.
I take the scales and I put them in a tub of acetone to degrease them, and then I take them into a room with a full suit, mask, and everything, and I sandblast them. Bee-blast, sandblast. It's sandblast. I get yelled at for calling it bee-blast.
You're the one doing it. I don't think you need to be dictated to by casuals.
The Cerakote guys give me shit for it. And then I put it in an oven at 250 to gas it out to get any extra moisture that's left in the scales, which when they're raw titanium and they're brand new, there's not much. And then once they cool down, I put them in the paint room and I blow off all the excess dust, debris, and then I coat them in a thin layer of light sand, because the black anodizes really well when it cuts it, because Mike can explain that.
So lasers are highly affected by the amount of reflectivity. Is that a word?
Sure.
Reflectivity that the thing that you're lasering has. So if you want to do brass, even we have a 50-watt fiber laser, which is, I don't know, a really strong laser, just to put it in layman's terms, and it has a hard time doing brass because brass is so reflective. Sterling silver is the same way. So when you try to anodize black, it works very well because it absorbs a lot of the light from the laser. Laser does a lot of work. When you try to anodize tan, it doesn't like that so much.
Yeah.
So like if you want to strip the Cerakoting off of black, it takes 3 to 4 passes. Tan takes 18 passes to strip the Cerakote off of it.
Wow.
And we realized that when we were doing the prototypes, and it wasn't working very well. So Cerakote normally goes on at 0.5 mil to 1 mil thickness. Standard stuff is going to be 1 mil. So I did a much thinner layer of that light sand, and then I did a copper suede and a mud brown splatter for the sandy desertiness of it. And then I give it to Mike when they're done. I bake it in the oven at 250 and doesn't smell like cookies, but you know.
That's the crazy thing about, like I said, doing these at scale is it doesn't sound like a lot. So you're like, oh, okay, well, it takes 18 passes. Yeah, kind of a pain in the butt. Okay, but that many passes takes 25 minutes. And if you've got to do 200 knives, that's 400 scales. So that's, you divide that by 3. That's how many hours it takes. That's how many just hundreds of hours you have stuff just sitting on there. So it's
just getting off. That's crazy.
And so it's very little things like that you don't think, like when you scale up, it's like, okay, we can make this minor change, but when you take that one change that takes 15 minutes and then you extrapolate it out by 400 knives, you've now added 4 days to the project. And so it's a weird kind of math that we learned the hard way on the bug out. And now we're very, very cognizant of. So
someone's upstairs on the computer.
Who is upstairs on the computer?
Someone is upstairs on the computer.
Chad? That's got to be Chad.
That's got to be Chad.
Hashtag boobs has got to be Chad.
Yeah, definitely.
You feel 80,000 of anything ever, I'm moving.
I think Spyderco would just say no.
If we called them up, was like, can we do 80,000 paramilitaries? They'd be like,
no.
They'd be like, you show up with cash in hand, anything's possible.
We just show up with a U-Haul van with $100 bills. $100 bills in it.
Paul, you should watch the video of the roll of that. Mike was immensely disappointed that the dinosaur art won instead of yours.
It was.
Shoot.
I'm sorry, Hardy. He knows I love him.
Yeah.
Is that? Oh, I gotta watch that now. Is that like still on the channel?
Yeah, well, because we knew what we were rolling for. And it came
Like-
with dinosaur muskets.
You're like,
Because I had to do the work, and I was like, oh. Oh shit, that's
Arrowhead Guys is saying that if you get exposed to tritium or ingest it somehow, drink a 6-pack of beer, be able to get out of your system.
what?
That's true. If you get certain radioactive isotopes in your body, if you get shit-faced drunk, it will actually wash it out of your system before it can affect you.
We've been practicing really well then.
I mean, I probably have no radioactive particles left in my body.
So I can use ISO alcohol to clean my blade, or will it damage my Cerakote?
Once it's baked on there, it
Alcohol should be fine.
doesn't.
I mean,
do much
honestly,
to it. Yeah.
You don't have to go as harsh as alcohol. Just anything that will evaporate.
Yeah.
Windex, dude. Windex is a
Yep.
knife maker's best friend.
But I just use acetone because it's great for degreasing
Yeah.
quickly and like gunk.
And also another thing too for bringing out anodizing, for making it. I mean, that's a trick, I guess I'll say. Like anytime we're gonna take pictures of anodizing or get it prepped, is you just get a paper towel, spray it with some Windex, and give it a couple of wipes, and let it evaporate. It makes anodizing pop like crazy.
Gets all the
Just-
grease off.
Yeah, just regular old Windex.
There's a chemical that like removes anodization completely too, right?
Yeah, I have it upstairs.
TSP?
And, I can't remember the name. It comes in a brown bottle. In fact, I have all of it. There's none of it left in Anchorage
Oh,
because
the rest.
I drove all around town and bought it all up. We have like 40 bottles of it. But it will remove anodization, but it will also remove polish. So you end up with like a dull kind of bead blast finish.
Hmm.
So when you want to do, that's another thing too. Like what was so hard with the Spidey Chef is to get them shiny. So they come bead blasted. So bead blasting is when you anodize it, you get kind of a dull, kind of boring finish. So to get them shiny, what I had to do is polish them all. And so then you spend hours just polishing this titanium. And then you have to stick it in an acid that removes all the polish work from it. And then you have to anodize it. So it was a very fine line to get the bead blasting off, get it to look nice, and then get it anodized correctly. It was that was my first introduction to how difficult this could be.
That's crazy. You must have learned a lot with the first Kaiser one we did too, right? Since that was like
No, the only thing I learned from the first Kaiser is that factory knives, even though it looks like all the scales are uniform, when you put them under a laser, because the laser doesn't lie, they are not uniform at all. Like the facets and the bevels and everything, they are different on every one, even if they're a production knife.
wow.
They are
So
different on almost every one.
is that why that sort of border style, like when it's inset inside the scale, is difficult?
Yes, exactly. We even talked about this on the ZT project.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, when you follow these borders, like I can't do it. And I can make any one look good, but it's an ungodly amount of work to do it at scale, which means, so what I'll have to do is I have to go and I'll have to categorize all of them because of what batches they were made at the factory. So I have to categorize each one because if I have to follow these contours, not every one's going to work. So you can't just throw it on a jig and do it. You throw it on a jig and see how close it is. And then you categorize all of them by what batch they were. And then you change the way the laser runs based on batch.
That's really interesting. I didn't know there was that much variance between.
You wouldn't think so. I mean, you think it's all made by machine. I'm sure it's the same. They have lots of quality control. But apparently all the tolerance control is on the inside of the scale. That's where they care. Because that's what makes it function well. But on the outside, if it looks the shit, ship it.
Interesting.
And that might even be down to the stone washing process because it's imperfect. You throw it in a thing, it tumbles around for a while, you bring it out, you put it together.
Mhm.
It might be down to that. I mean, I don't know.
Thank you for the explanation. Ooh, super fascinating. Applying the artwork on the knives is just as much work as the art itself.
The artwork, applying it is probably the lion's share of it because I can sit down I can sit down at Photoshop for a day and sort it out, and then spend 3 months applying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys do a lot.
We got Dave coming in here. Best hard liquor to use in improvised wound cleaner? 101, 151.
Anything above 50 proof.
Yeah. And then we got Steve Rogers. Would hate to spill that on my knives. I think he's talking about isopropyl alcohol. Or no, he's talking about the stripper.
Oh, yeah.
Acetone.
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 Or the TSP, not TSP.
Well, acetone
the
strip.
rust remover stuff.
Oh, Oh, yeah. It will decimate titanium.
So we've reached the end of our comments here, and we have gone over quite a bit here. Do we want to keep going, or do we want to call it quits?
Paul, anything you'd like to add? Anything to hit on?
I guess really just like thank you. You know, anybody who's in here who has already ordered one of these or has ordered one of the ones in the past. I think it's really cool that we've had the opportunity to create these projects. It's almost like a genre of knives that, at least as far as I know, didn't really exist anymore. Prior, right? Like doing these sort of limited batch things, and I forget which one of you had the idea to do this sort of drop style with like the tiers, but like that is just, I love it so much. I think it's really cool. And yeah, no, just so I really appreciate the opportunity to work on these projects. I definitely want to do like so many more of them. And that's really
I don't want to stop. We should just keep doing this.
There's always new knives coming out.
Well, and it's like you would think like I thought when we did the Spidey Chef, I was like, okay, I got the process down. Don't you worry. And then every one we do, I learned something on every one. It's like I am not figuring this out fast enough.
Right. No,
but they're fun as shit. And the final project and seeing people posting them online and loving them, and even like the whole round of even when we announced another one was coming out, like, dude, there were bug outs on social media left and right. I was like, hell yeah. Like that makes all the pain and bullshit you go through on the project, makes it totally worth it to see people love them.
It really does. It really does. And then also, if you do buy one, because I did see this a couple of times, please do not put it on eBay for like double the price. Because that's shitty. But yeah.
We saw a spaced out bug out on eBay for $5,000.
Yeah, I doubt that's. I really hope that didn't sell, but I did.
I'm sure it didn't, but just the attempt is flattering.
I know, right? I was like, this is crazy, but yeah, I mean, that's again like back to really liking the idea of the order, like giving people a month to really decide, save up for it, whatever. Like I think it's a really cool way to do it. So like everybody has the opportunity, because I remember hearing that, because like I'm really into collecting. I watch a bunch of content on YouTube, and it does seem to be sort of a sticking point where it's like limited run in terms of quantity is tough, like it's so cool that anybody who wants one can get one. And yeah, I hope we could just keep scaling that and keep making stuff that whoever is interested in whatever project it is can get one.
Yeah. I think we're getting good at the process to the point where, I mean, if we can offer it less than the amount of its parts, I think we're doing everything we can to make this accessible to everybody, to make them as popular as possible, to make it so that it's not something like, oh, look what I have and you don't. We want everybody to be able to have one.
Exactly.
Project.
Cool.
Exactly.
All right. I guess on that
thanks.
note, we'll go ahead and end the broadcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Paul, so much for everything that you do. And everyone have a great evening.